वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। Reading from the first canto, chapter 7, titled "The Son of Drona Punished." So we are we are in our 50th verse. So if someone is free, we can they can.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. So what we'll do is because the first and two verses have no purport, we'll just finish the reading and then we will go on to sharing some points. Nakula Sahadevascha
Nakulah Sahadevascha
Yudhano Dhananjaya
Yuyudhano Dhananjayah
Devaki Putro
Bhagavan Devaki Putro
Echa Anyaya Cha Yositaha.
Yecha Neyascha Yoshitah.
Word to word meaning, translation, and purport by His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Nakula, Sahadeva, Cha, and Yuyudhanaha. Satyaki, Dhananjaya, Arjuna, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Devaki Putra, the son of Devaki, Lord Shri Krishna, Ye, those, Cha, and Anya, others, Yaha, those, Cha, and Yositaha, ladies. The translation, Nakula and Sahadeva, the younger brothers of the king, and also Satyaki, Arjuna, the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, son of Devaki, and the ladies, others all unanimously agreed with the king. Okay, let's see what happens, whether others also agree. The next verse. Yeah. Tatra atmarsito bhimas.
Tatraha Marshito
Bhimas.
Himas
Tasya shreyan vada smrataha.
Asya Shreyan Vada Smritaha
Na bratur na atmanascha ate.
Na Bhartur Natmanashtarthe
Yo ansputam sishum vrataha.
Yohan Suptan Shishun Vritha
Yohan suptam shishum vrataha.
Yohan Suptan Shishun Vritha.
Thank you, Mataji. Tatra, thereupon, Aha said, Amarsitaha, in an angry mood, Bhima, Tasya, his Shreyan, ultimate good, Vadaha, killing, Smritaha, recorded, not Brathur, the master, nor Atmanaha, of his own self, Cha, and Arte, for the sake of Yaha, one who, Aham, killed, Suptan, sleeping, Sisum, children, Vrataha, without a purpose. Translation, very small. Bhima, however, angrily disagreed with them and recommended killing this culprit who has murdered sleeping children for no purpose and for neither his nor his master's interest. Just this one last. Nissamay Bhima Gaditham
Nishamya Bhima Gaditam
Draupadascha Chaturbhujaha
Draupadascha Chaturbhujaha
Alokya Vadanam Sakyur
Alokya Vadanam Sakyur
Idam Aham Asan Iva.
Idamaha Hasanniva.
Thank you, Mataji. Nisamya, just after hearing Bhima, Gaditam spoken by Draupadya of Draupadi, Cha and Chaturbhuja, the four-handed personality of Godhead, Alokya, having seen Vadanam, the face, Sakya, of his friend. Idam, this aha, said Hassan, smiling, Eva, as if, translation, Chaturbhuja, the four-armed one, or the personality of Godhead. After hearing the words of Bhima, Draupadi and others saw the face of his dear friend, and he began to speak as if smiling. That's a small purport. Lord Krishna had two arms, and why he is designated as a four-armed is explained by Sridhar Swami. Just hear this, very nice it is. Both Bhima and Draupadi held opposite views about killing Ashwatthama. Bhima wanted him to be immediately killed, whereas Draupadi wanted to save him. We can imagine Bhima ready to kill while Draupadi is obstructing him. And in order to prevent both of them, the Lord discovered another two arms. Originally, the primeval Lord Sri Krishna displays only two arms, but in his Narayana feature, he exhibits four. In his Narayana feature, he resides with his devotees in the Vaikuntha planets, while in his original Sri Krishna feature, he resides in the Krishna Loka planet, far, far above the Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky. Therefore, if Sri Krishna is called Chaturbhuja, there is no contradiction. If needed be, he can display hundreds of arms as he is exhibited in his Vishwarupa shown to Arjuna. Therefore, one can display his hundreds and thousands of arms, can also manifest for whenever needed. When Arjuna was perplexed about what to do with Ashwatthama, Lord Krishna, as the very dear friend of Arjuna, voluntarily took up the matter just to make a solution. And he's also smiling. So, going back to these three verses, we'll just share a few points. Before that, let me say my prayer. Soma Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjara Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yudapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajiva Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Parishthaya Bhutale Shri Guru Namaste Saraswati Devi Vishesha Gurudev ki jai. Hare Krishna. Okay. So, we've been having some wonderful verses, some great points, and this section is brought out so many qualities, so many such important points for which is absolutely necessary in the current situation. So, and yesterday we heard from His Grace Varakripa Mayadas is that Srimad Bhagavatam, the Amala Purana is so beautiful. The same point gets repeated so many times so that we can understand it, comprehend it, apply it practically many places, and keeps on reminding. Okay, so there have been wonderful angles of this Vaishnava qualities that were, discussed in the last few classes. However, two very strong points, very strong arguments, outstanding points which Draupadi was giving in her arguments, that those two stood out was compassion. That's very natural for a mother and a woman. And that compassion was most importantly guided by dharma. So though we are seeing that the villain is captured and brought, somehow we normally think that Krishna and Arjuna are the heroes, right? I mean, that's the way it is in all the places. But here, it is the Draupadi in this section who's gaining all the spotlight because of her wonderful qualities which have been revealed. So, in the last few verses, we realized there were six standing out qualities. That is, she quotes dharmyam, reasonability, karuna, not to harm others. She had shown calmness, equanimity, and then last is generosity, right? When she said kripi also will be heard. So let's now see in these two couple of verses how others not necessarily support her, right? We saw here Nakula Sahadeva supporting. The next verse he says Bhima, however, did not agree. Okay. So what I there are no translations in this, so I dare not say anything. But just to summarize, so that we can go to the next verse, right? So this it's been Draupadi shown a high level of it kind of shows how the high maturity, or the Draupadi's levels. She's been showing Prabhupada's purpose comes out with 2-3 levels, if we can kind of categorize it. One is the level or angle of Vaishnavi. There are Paradukha Dukhi. A forgiving quality is very highly brought in. Bhagavad Gita also shares the same, right? Always a Vaishnava is kind and merciful to all, right? And a devotee does not hate anyone. Okay, that forgiving quality is highlighted. And the second aspect is, as we just said a couple of verses back, she showed the level of the generosity angle. Kripi will suffer. Okay. So she, both being a Vaishnavi and a mother. Now here, it's a super combination, right? The compassion. Yesterday also, Varha Krupamaidas was pointing out, if a nurse is a mother, it is even more greater. The combination. Now, if you see nowadays, somehow or the other, wherever you talk about advertisements or movies, when you depict a girl and her ambition, always it is shown as either wanting to be a doctor, lawyer, or a businesswoman, or some kind of the way it is shown is that they only have to aspirationally become these things. Okay. If nowhere the mother's role is glorified. Okay. In fact, so much so that if the young girl says, my ambition is to be a mother, I think most of them, her peers, would laugh at her. In fact, somebody will say it's more like second class. You don't have ambitions, is it? Immediately they say they look down upon others. Yeah, I don't know whether it was during the lockdown days. I saw a wonderful WhatsApp a message going around saying that there is a post vacant and you all should apply. And that man goes on to say that there is no holiday, there is no breaks, you are to be always standing, you will not get holiday 365 days and all that. Then they ask, do you want to apply for this post? And when all others protested, saying how inhuman, there cannot be a post like that. Then he actually shares saying that yes, there is somebody who's always doing it, and that is your mother. So that's the way the current Kali Yuga days is portraying women should reach out to. Whereas Srila Prabhupada so beautifully always appreciated the role of the mother, and he had high regard. Right. That is why sometimes I've heard in a lecture saying that a preacher is like a mother. Okay, he doesn't. More like a mother's role, right? Rather, it is more compared to that. You cannot expect any regard or appreciation, right? How children, they do toilet, do everything, sometimes humiliate everything, but still mother has to keep on going with unconditional love. Okay, so sometimes the child will come and say nasty things against you. You cannot get upset. You better not be a mother if you're going to get upset with all these small things. The same way is with preaching also. You cannot get upset if your child shouts at you, okay, or does not show gratitude. so sometimes motherhood is very difficult service, a sacrifice. Okay. I remember the mother's love to the child is the closest thing which is compared to actual love in Golok Vrindavan, actually the Lord's love. So anyway, I like the aspect of the preacher being compared to a mother. Okay, and the last point is the how simple-hearted or how sentimental person yet Draupadi was. Okay, please note it has to be it not necessarily simple-hearted is a simpleton. Okay, being simple and straightforward. Right, I heard somewhere, I think Srila Prabhupada quotes that even the straight trees are the only one which are being cut, not the one which are haphazardly grown. So three very important angles, or you could say levels, which was being brought out. So from these two verses we can make out that Bhima was not at all agreeing. He was like, even Duryodhana did not approve it, right? He was very angry. How can we forgive him, right? So sometimes we can have a disagreement with a devotee also, right? On any topic. That doesn't mean we should hate, we should develop any hatred towards the devotee, right? Somehow, if we have to mature as a person to keep the problem and the person separate. We can disagree with each other and still need to maintain very good relationship with Vaishnavas. We should, in fact, I heard Radhesham Prabhu, His Grace Radhesham Prabhu, very always saying it first. First, we should see how we can agree with him. Okay, in a sense, try all the angles to see whether, even if it means we have to do some compromise. Because why? Because the leader or the senior is actually keeping Krishna in the center and wanting to do some activity. And here we may have some personal disagreements. We may want to do it differently. But first, Radhesham Prabhu says that we need to see whether how we can compromise and keeping the purpose, keeping the mood well and continuing with that activity. So we can see, even if amongst in a much broader angle, there are so many Vaishnava sects, the other paramparas. We could have some small differences in the methodology, but all of them agree Krishna or Vishnu is the Aradhya Bhagavan, right? And that is the focus we should have, right? So we'll see what 52 reveals now. The verse which says Chaturbuja, or the personality of Godhead. After hearing the words of Bhima, Draupadi, and the others, saw the face of his dear friend, and he began to speak as if smiling. Now, okay, all of them have spoken, right? We will see what Krishna's going to say here, right? So, in this, the beginning itself, it says Chaturbuja, okay? The four-handed one, four-handed. So the Lord immediately showed us four hands, right? Now, Srila Prabhupada explains it very nicely. I was seeing a lecture, hearing a lecture from him. He says it is to make it clear, don't mistake me into a normal child. I'm the supreme personality of Godhead. Okay, that's why he showed his four-handed form. Right, some other normal people can think that, oh, he's a son of Devaki. He's born as a normal child, or he's avatar of Vishnu or something. I mean, we devotees are very clear, right? What is the hierarchy? Vishnu three Rupani, we know what are the three types of Vishnus and how the avatars are. So we should not have any doubt at that. So that was one angle. But here, of course, Acharyas are so sweet. Sridhar Swami is saying the moment there was some disagreement, Krishna wanted two hands to hold Draupadi and two more to stop Bhima. So it's a very nice way of enjoying these purports. So, and Bhima wanted immediately to kill. We can imagine, right, how he was ready to kill Draupadi, and in order to prevent both, the Lord discovered two more arms, he says, right? So that is another aspect of it. So, but like I said, we will in the few verses before we found out that whenever we are in a situation like this, of course, we will never get, I said, right, we will never be in a situation where we have to kill or not to kill or such kind of difficult, out of the syllabus challenges will not come. However, if you see, at any place we are in trouble and we are not able to take a decision, right? The best advice given to us, or which we have learned from the seniors, is to always seek help, right? uh, our seniors are like, in a way, if I can say this, because we are talking of mother and other aspect, a parental kind of an relationship we need to have. We cannot keep running to guru for all our practical problems, right? What first we are There are leaders, we seek out to them. Why we go do that? Because they are seniors and they have seen such in their long career of Krishna consciousness, 10 or 15 years, 2 decades, they've seen all this, and they have also seen how their seniors have advised them in many a times, right? The problems are primarily the same, just each flavors keep changing. Okay, so last but not the least, they have Krishna in their hearts and their purity. They definitely will always keep the importance of, rather keep this focus on the sadhaka, so that the sadhaka or the devotee should not suffer in future. And they don't want, at any time, a leader doesn't want the bhakti of the person to suffer, right? So um, I always like these lines when Srila Prabhupada writes the last paragraph. When Arjuna was plus perplexed about what to do with Ashwatthama, Lord Krishna, as a very dear friend of Arjuna, voluntarily took up the matter and just to make a solution. And he was smiling too. So, if we are dear to Krishna, right? Uh, of course, dear to Guru and Krishna, he voluntarily takes up the matter just to give us a solution. So, actually, when in trouble, uh, going back to the same train, when in trouble, the Lord will solve it either himself or through his devotees. How beautiful, right? So, what we need to be, what is our qualification, or what we should to to qualify for this? What is our requirement? We need to be dear to him. And I definitely know one shortcut. All the present members, I don't know, 30, 40 of them, just go to your leaders and say, I want to be preaching. I want to start preaching, right? That is the best way. Even we know in Gita, he clearly says, they are very dear to me. So if we want to solve our challenges, if we want to continue Bhakti Yoga smoothly, the simplest way is be dear to Lord. Because here it says voluntarily took up the matter to give a solution, and he was smiling. So this wonderful section goes on like this. So we need to, if we want to know what is the actual uh, solution he gave, what did he do with Ashwatthama, we need to wait for another a day or two. So seniors will reveal what really happened to Ashwatthama. So these very short purport, very small two verses. These are the few points I had listed out and wanted to share with you all. If I made any mistakes, please pardon me. Open to ideas. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Or any clarifications from these two verses, you can just speak out.